This is Broadcast Beat Magazine with Ryan Salazar.
Ryan Salazar here with Broadcast Beat Magazine. We have a special guest, Matt Hines from iZotope. How you doing, sir?
I'm good. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for being here. So at the 2015 IBC show, our very own Janet West was chatting with you guys about RX Post-Production Suite. Would you mind telling us about that?
I'd be happy to, yeah. So we're pretty excited. The RX Post-Production Suite's coming out very soon. And it's basically an end-to-end solution for anyone working in audio post-production. By which I mean there are tools in the suite that can do audio repair and enhancement. That's RX5 Advanced Audio Editor, and that's anything from denoising to distortion removal, sudden noises, background noises, anything of the sort. Then it also includes RX Final Mix, which is designed for stereo to surround sound mixing, anyone working with stems, that type of a workflow, dialogue, sound effects, music, especially for television and film. And then we also include several different loudness metering and loudness correction tools if you're working in broadcast or delivering to broadcast. And then there's also some added bonuses. There's some sound effects in there. There's video training thrown in there. So really for anyone that uses a whole bunch of these different types of tools every day in their audio post-production work, we've tried to encapsulate that into one complete package that has almost everything that they would need.
I'm a huge fan of RX4. We use it in every Broadcast Beat video interview, I'm proud to say, and I'm addicted to it. I literally do editing inside of RX4. It's really awesome. Yeah. So I'm curious, with the announcement of RX5, you guys obviously have some new features. Would you mind kind of talking about those?
Sure. And, the new features, really, if you think about the time that's passed since RX4, we've been at several trade shows, all sorts of user groups. So the features came from you guys, from users, people who use it every day. And so there's a few features similar to both versions of RX, the first of which is instant process mode. So for those who aren't familiar with RX, what it does is it takes an audio file and it puts it into a spectrogram-based view. It's sort of like an image of your sound. You can see, everything that's happening in that sound in more detail than you would a waveform. And you can make selections, if there's a cough in the background or a whistle or a siren that goes by when you're shooting on location. And then there's a whole bunch of different processing that you can apply to those selections if you'd like to remove them. So instant process is basically a magic eraser for your audio. If you see a sound in the spectrogram, any sound, you can just draw over it and it's erased. It sort of just goes away. So it's especially powerful for sudden sounds, interruptions, all the kinds of coughs and sirens and things like that I've just described. You just pull in an audio file. As soon as you see the audio problem in this 2D graph, you just draw over it and it's gone. We also heard from a bunch of users who, like yourself, live and breathe RX every single day, and they're doing a whole bunch of different processes again and again. They might declick an audio file, denoise it a couple times, maybe de-reverb, and especially if you're working with the same, ADR recording, or if you're getting audio from the same voice actor a lot, and you're doing a lot of the same steps over and over again, people were finding that a little cumbersome. So we've added a feature called module chain, where you can basically just gang up a bunch of different audio processes, things you would often do when you're ingesting any audio, either at the beginning of an edit or during an edit. And then with one mouse click, you can actually have RX essentially automate those processes. So you tell it what to do, but then it can rinse and repeat those settings every single time. If you have your perfect processing chain and you want to do these same 5 things again and again, you just hit process and it's going to go and do that. One of the new sound processing technologies we've added is this deplosive module. So if anyone ever has dealt with those plosives, and I'm sure anyone editing voice or dialogue has, you'll know that they can be pretty intrusive. They can creep up in between desirable dialogue frequencies. So a simple EQ doesn't really do a great job of surgically and transparently removing them. So this new deplosive module, which has been added to the RX5 Advanced Audio Editor, intelligently analyzes an audio file and then identifies the plosives, including when that burst of sound is in between the desirable dialogue frequencies, and it will actually remove it for you. So it's sort of anytime you pull in a dialogue or vocal recording, you can just hit this deplosive module's process button, and it goes through, locates every single plosive in that recording, and then removes it as transparently as possible, leaving the dialogue that you want behind, and you actually haven't done any EQ changes. So the problem's fixed, and now you can do the EQ that you would actually want to do to that voice. So we're pretty excited about that. And we've also added RX4 Advanced had a leveler module, which could create custom clip gain envelopes. So instead of having to manually edit and bring certain syllables up, bring other syllables down, and basically create this volume envelope to smooth out your dialogue, the leveler can do that automatically. And in RX5, we've added some intelligent deep breath and de-essing technologies. So when you run the leveler on dialogue, it will detect if there are any S's present, any breaths, and give you the control over how much you would like to reduce those. And then when you hit process, what you're left with is a finished clip gain envelope. Your entire dialogue file, whether it's 60 seconds or 60 minutes, is smoothed out, leveled, non-destructively. The S's are treated, the breaths are treated, and it's a much smoother voiceover all around. And then you can send it back to Pro Tools or Premiere Pro or BD Composer, whatever it is that you're working with.
And you guys just announced RX Final Mix. Could you elaborate on that?
Sure, absolutely. It's a very important part of the post-production suite, but it is also available separately. So if you think about RX5 Audio Editor as the tool that you would use to edit, repair, and enhance your audio, you still need to mix your audio as well, whether that's in Pro Tools or any of the other DAWs or NLEs. And we had a lot of users come to us and say, hey, can you build a mixing tool for post? Build something for us that has these features, those features, and so on. So RX Final Mix is a plugin that you can use in real time to mix. It's everything from stereo to 7.1 surround sound, which is pretty crucial for audio post. And it incorporates two key tools, an equalizer and a limiter, in one very lightweight package. And it's designed especially for people working on dialogue, on sound effects, and on music, people working in a sort of a stem-based workflow. The idea is that you can put Final Mix on all of your stems. The limiter is a broadcast standard true peak limiter. It's extremely low latency, so you don't have any sync problems. And the EQ is one of those things that makes it really special too, because it's both a traditional equalizer and it's also a dynamic equalizer. So you can actually have the EQ be reactive, and it's not auto mixing. You control this behavior as the mixer, but you can set the EQ to apply only when certain problems are there. If I add a bass boost to my sound effects channel, I can set it so that it actually only triggers that equalizer boost in the bass when those sound effects are there. And on the flip side, if I have Final Mix on my music channel, I can actually have it intelligently reduce certain frequencies on the music channel so that they don't interfere with the dialogue. And then if I have it on the dialogue stem, perhaps a voice actor is, sometimes SE, sometimes off axis, and their voice character changes over time. You can set an equalizer curve that's actually reactive. So it's much easier to visualize for sure if anyone wants to download it and try it out for themselves. But it's a fantastic mixing tool, and it's been really well received in post-production for sure.
Every audio engineer is huge on meters, and of course with the Calm Act right now, it's a big deal, monitoring your audio. I see that you guys have Insight. I'm really interested in that.
If you think about the post-production suite as this sort of end-to-end suite of tools, we have the editing, we have the mixing, but as you're mixing, you also have to keep an eye on the final delivery. And that's where both Insight and RX Loudness Control come in. So Insight's our real-time loudness meter. So that you would put on your master bus or on your dialogue stem or whatever it is that you're trying to make sure is compliant with spec. And then it just sits there as you mix. You keep an eye on your levels, make sure your integrated is within tolerance, make sure your true peak isn't going over, short-term, momentary, whatever the settings in your particular spec are. That's what Insight's designed to do. And once you're finished, you can use Insight to produce a loudness report, like a CSV type spreadsheet to accompany your file downstream. And then we also have RX Loudness Control, which is an offline process. It's integrated directly with Premiere Pro, also Adobe's media encoder if you want to set up watch folders and sort of an automated file-based workflow. And it also is available right in Pro Tools. And this plugin allows you to take any finished mix and then just analyze it, up to 100 times fast, real time, and it'll instantly report yes, I meet this spec, or no, I don't meet this spec. And if you fail to hit the loudness spec first time around, you can either use RX loudness control to transparently correct for it and then send the mix out of the door, or you can actually go back and do it yourself. We have a little history graph. It shows you kind of where the problems are if you would rather fix it manually. So once you get to the full post-production suite, we have the editing, the audio repair, we have the mixing, we have the loudness analysis, the loudness correction. And again, this is all stuff that people were coming to us and asking for at previous IBC shows and NAB shows. So we're pretty excited to be able to announce it this time around.
Matt Hines with iZotope. Thanks so much, and we'll see you at an upcoming show.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having me.